Hi, everyone. So today I'm going to talk through 5 reasons that your VLOOKUP formula mightn't be working in Excel. Okay. So you might be pulling your hair out and you think you've got the formula right, but it's just not working. So hopefully this tutorial will help you. Okay. I'll just get right into it. So the very first problem that people come across, I'll do an example. So let's say we look at this pool data here that I've pulled together. So we've got codes, so it could be a product code or a code linked to a name or a person, a month, name, day, amount, and amount paid. So this is just my example of data. You might have a completely different, layout and different columns and different rows with different names. That's totally fine. I'll just show you based on this example, and then you can morph it into how it would work in your world. But this will work for any big data source. It doesn't matter how big your data is or how different it looks, as long as you've got rows, columns, and rows, this will work. So let's say in this example, I want to find out Jack's amount of money that he's paid, but I've got, thousands of rows. So a VLOOKUP is the best way to quickly, find your answer. And if you want a better step-by-step tutorial on how to do VLOOKUPs from scratch, I've done a video on my channel on this, okay? So check it out. So first off, I want to see Jack, okay? So to do VLOOKUP, it's equal VLOOKUP. And in this example, I'm just going to take the whole data, and then I'm going to see that in column 5 is the amount. Always make sure that you highlight the word that you want to find, okay? And in this, it's column 5, so I'll type 5 and then 0. Okay. You can see it's coming up as an error, and you might be like, well, why isn't that working? It should work. I know Jack is in the data source. I know the amount is in there. I've gone to the 5th column that I've highlighted, and it should work. So here's the reason why. So whatever you're trying to find, so in this example, we're trying to find name, okay? You need to have that as the very first column and not highlight necessarily from the very start of your data. If your very first column said name and it had all the names with Jacks included, then this VLOOKUP would work. So what we do is, all we do is just change where the data is highlighted from. So in this case, you get a little arrow to the side, so you just drag it. And now we drag it to name, actually. So now this will work. So once we've dragged it to the column that we're trying to find, so wherever our source is actually in, this is a name, this is a name, so that's what we put first, okay? And then you're going to have to change the column number because you're only highlighting 3 columns here, and it's the 3rd column highlighted that you want the number uh, to basically spit out for you. You get rid of the 5th column because, yeah, it's the 5th column of data in your data source, but you're only highlighting 3 columns and you want to see the 3rd column. Okay, so you just put in number 3, keep everything else the same, and click return, and there you go. There's your answer. So, number one issue that you might have is make sure that the very first column that you're highlighting has the source that you want to find, basically. So this one was name, Jack, so that's where I highlighted from. If I did want to find, I can change it here, a month. So let's say I want to see the month of March and how much money is owed on a certain day or whatever. I put in March, okay, and then I change, where I want the data to pull from. So I drag this across, make sure month is the very first data source. I can see amount here is 4th column in. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I go up here, change my formula to number 4, and then it will give me the amount that's based in March. Okay, so as you can see here. Okay, so that's the first problem that you might be having. A second common problem is this one here. So let's get rid of that. Let's say you want to find, based on these codes, how much amount is paid, the amount of money paid, for example. We'll use a different column. So let's say you want this code. So you might have, I don't know, product codes or a code linked to a person or a month or a day or whatever in your data source. Codes are quite common, use in companies. So let's say I want to find this product code number that I know off the top of my head is 6547, okay? You type that here like with any VLOOKUP that you're trying to find. So you do equals 6547. Oh, sorry, VLOOKUP, obviously. Uh, where the cell is that you want to find. Then you do a comma. And because code is in the very first bit of data, and that's what we want to find, you need to have that in the first column. You can highlight everything. And we want to see the amount paid. So I can see that that's 6 rows along. So you type in number 6 and then click return. Now you might be like, well, that should definitely work because I've done the right thing. I'm in the first column, where I want to find something is code, and that's the first column that I've done. Everything should work it theoretically. Now, this was actually a problem that I had in my last company, and I was pulling my hair out trying to figure it out because I knew my formula was correct, and it is correct. Your formula is perfectly correct. So the issue here is, and you might see these little exclamation marks that appear on your Excel, which might help guide you. So in this example, and this will happen sometimes with if you use like Tableau or any sort of reporting system, when it gets downloaded, it might get downloaded automatically like this into an Excel, okay? And you can see here there's a little exclamation mark here. And if you click on it, it's saying to you, your number is being stored as text. Okay, hint. So a way to know if your number is being stored as text is if I just spread all these out for a second, you can see all the words in Excel are to the left of the cell. So Monday to the left, Jack to the left, January to the left. And the numbers that I have, so the amount and amount paid, are to the right of the cell. So 33 to the right, 6 to the right. And you can see here code, hang on, that's to the left, like all of the text. So for some reason, your file thinks that, 6547 is text. You've written here as a number, like with any number that you'd normally write in Excel, it will always come up to the right. It's just sometimes when you download it from a different source, it might appear as text, okay, incorrectly. So what you can do here is two different things. So you can either try and turn your VLOOKUP into a text, which is kind of a pain. You'd probably want to just correct your data source, but I'll show you both ways. So highlight the number that you've just written down. And then you go up the very top to data, okay? And then text to column is what you need to click. Now you just click next, next, and then in the third step and the last step, it says here column data format. So if you want to change it to text, you highlight text and click finish. If you've written an equal sign, you might just need to get rid of that. And there you go. Now it's pulling through correctly because you've written in something that's now appearing as text. In your data pool, it's appearing as text because it's on the left-hand side of your cell. And now it's picking up the right VLOOKUP. So you can see here, 65478. So you know it's correct. Okay. Now let's say that's a bit of farce and you don't want to have to go through all the data, change your number to a text when technically it shouldn't be a text. I'll show you how to do that. So let me just undo what I just did. Okay. So let's say you want to change all this pool of data to numbers as it should be. Now this is actually really easy. So you just highlight all of the cells here that are shown as text, all your numbers. Excuse me. And then you'll get this exclamation pop up. Hopefully it shows on the screen, but it will just show to the left of your cell. You click on it and then you press convert to number. And then it will convert it all to a number. If you can't see what just popped up, I'm not sure what it's recording, you can just do exactly what you did the first time round and just change it to a number rather than a text. So you can highlight here, text to columns, next, next, finish. Okay, cool. It might still turn out look like it's text, but the VLOOKUP has worked. So that's the main thing. Okay, so your codes are now numbers. your VLOOKUP is working, make sure that your numbers are not showing up as text, and then your VLOOKUP will work. Okay, so that was number 2. Number 3 then, I'll show you is another mistake people make with VLOOKUPs. So let's say I want to find Lucy's amount of money that she owes in the data, and I know Lucy is in my data source. Okay, so I write her name and then I do a VLOOKUP, highlight it. I go from name because I know that's where I want to find my VLOOKUP, and that's the first column I highlight. And then I go to amount, which is 3 columns in. So I write number 3 and then I click 0. Okay, it's coming up as an NA. So this is an error. And you might be able to spot what this mistake actually is, but sometimes people don't spot this off the bat, which is okay. I'll just show you why. So she knows that Lucy's in her data source, but the reason it's not picking up in this VLOOKUP is because she spelt her name wrong. So in the data source, it's Lucy, but she has written it as Lucie. Okay. So unfortunately, you kind of have to be a little bit okay with your spelling in order to make your VLOOKUP to work. Okay. So this is why it's not working, just because she spelled the name wrong. So Excel is really smart. And even if you slightly misspell it, it's not going to pick up your VLOOKUP. So just make sure that you spell the word right or the code correctly or whatever, to make sure that it matches your data source. Okay. So once you've spelled it correctly, then your VLOOKUP works. You can see Lucy 45, Lucy 45. Cool. So that was the third way in which VLOOKUPs don't work. The fourth way then is this. So let's say we'll stick with Lucy. Okay. And I want to see what day she's paid. Okay. So if I start off as normal, so VLOOKUP, look up Lucy's name and it's spelled correctly. And then I go to her name here. And then I want to find the day, okay, which is in column G. Now, some people will put column G here and then a 0. Obviously, you will know, hopefully by now. If not, that's okay. It's all a bit of a process that you can't put the letter of the column into your formula. Okay. Even though when you highlight on the formula in Excel and it might tell you column index NUM and you don't know what that means and you think it's the column name, um, that's okay. So in this example, someone is putting the column letter, which is a complete fair mistake because the columns are given letters and you might think, well, obviously I should put the letter. So no. So what you do there is you go to where someone's put the column letter and you put the number of columns along that you have to go to get what you need. So if you want day, that's 1, 2, second column. So you put number 2. If I wanted the amount of money, okay, so if I just press return, if I want the amount of money, I'll show you this. This will be a bonus, let's say, a bonus tip. If I want the amount of money and I type in 3, because I can see it's 1, 2, 3, turn, that's not going to work. And the reason why it wouldn't work is because you haven't highlighted amount in your data array, is what it's called. So what you do is you just go to where it says F3 G11 and make sure everything is highlighted that you want it to pick up. So I want to pick up amount. Number 3 is 1, 2, 3, third column along. Click return, and now it'll work. So I've given you a little extra tip there. So we've kind of got 6 reasons why your VLOOKUP won't work. Okay, so that was 3B. Column letter rather than number. Oh no, that was 4 actually. So this is number 5 then. Okay, just checking my notes. So lastly then, let's say we want to find Kate. Oh, whoops, you don't need a equal sign. Let's say we want to see Kate and we want to see the amount paid, okay? So easy. So VLOOKUP, 8, comma, find where the name is, highlight there first, and then amount paid. Let's say we want to see that one. So that one's number 4. Okay, okay, cool. That worked. Perfect. So let's say we want to see some other names down here on top of that. So let's say now I want to see, oh, hang on, what's Jack? What does he owe me? So if you drag your cell down, which means you're dragging the formula down, it will give you what you need. Okay. Carl and then Jack here. If we do it like that, I'll show you what I mean. So if you drag the formula down, which means, your VLOOKUP will go to other names. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. So you can see here that, okay, I've done one for Kate, and then I did one for Lulu. I dragged it down. You can see Carl, I've dragged it down. It should work. And Jack, how come it's not working? It's working for everyone else. So you just go to where it says NA in the column, or in the cell, sorry. You can highlight it, and you can see here in the red highlighted section that the square has moved down with every name that you've written. Okay, so you can see Kate is highlighting everything. Lulu, it's moved down a row. Carl is moved down a row, and Jack, it's moved down a row. So it's moved down to the point where Jack is actually outside of your table array here. So it's trying to find the word Jack, but all you can see here are Lucy, Ben, Lulu, Carl, James, Phoebe. So it's not giving you a value because you're not including it in your table array. Okay. So an easy way to fix this, because if you had lots of different names here and you wanted to make sure it worked for everyone and it wasn't. Okay, an easy way to do this is to do dollar signs. And you're like, what do you mean? Okay, so dollar signs, whenever you put that in a formula, it locks the cell. And that's what we want to do, is we want to lock these cells and we want to find the words within this selected bit of data. So what you do is you go to your very first cell and you highlight F3 to I11 in this example, which is your table array, i.e. this red box here, okay? So you click F3, or you can either click F3 up the very top here, whatever is easiest for you. And if you click F4 on your laptop, which is up the very top of your laptop, F4, it will automatically put in these dollar signs, one in front of the column number, which is F, and one in front of the row number. Okay. And I know it might make sense if you've never seen this before, but believe me, it makes sense in a second. Highlight where it says I11 and click F4 again. If you're clicking F4 and nothing is coming up, you might just have different settings on your laptop. So you can literally, if I remove those for a second, write in a dollar sign, which is, the function in number 4. It would show on your laptop. So you can literally write in a dollar sign either and it will work the same. So if I click return, and if I drag my new formula down, everything works. So what that's done is, I can show you here, it's locked this little bit of data is what I want to find all my names in and the amount of money in. So if I click on Phoebe, it's the same red box. Ben, the same red box. Jack, same red box. So that's what the little dollar signs do, is it locks that table array that you want to find your bits and bobs in so that it doesn't move down and misses names or data. So there you go, guys. Those are the 5 ways plus an extra tip of another one why your VLOOKUP isn't working. So hopefully that was helpful to you and hopefully your VLOOKUP formula is now working. If you thought this tutorial was helpful, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel for more Excel tips. It would really help. Cool. Thanks, guys. I'll see you soon.